I mean, you know, and so we're going to close it down. Well, if there was something wrong, President, then just, you know, put those people in jail or whatever, like you're doing with the Navy SEALs. But why close it down? It was a political gimmick. He still had closed it down. He's working on it. But now look at this. Even in Guantanamo Bay, even under George Bush and the Republicans, who were supposed to be so terrible, they allowed Muslims to work for the United States Army and to work in the translation. Look at this article. We see another spy scandal at Gitmo. Arab and Pashto interpreters omitted info from their translations of detainee interrogations. Stab them in the back. United States military, you and I, our tax dollars, you Americans, if you pay taxes, our tax dollars went to do what? Our tax dollars went to pay these Muslim translators, these Muslim military men, to help us in the war of terror in the United States territory of Guantanamo Bay. And what do? Stab you in the back. Watch out, Takia. Look what they did. Their loyalties, if this is true, were with Islam, not with the United States. Go figure. That's what Muslims are telling us all around the United States of America. Not only by their words, but by their actions. They smile outwardly, but in their hearts they curse us. Not with the United States. That should not be surprising. It is a staple of Islamic thought that loyalty to one's fellow Muslim trumps all other loyalties. It says here, a number of Arabic and Pashto interpreters at the Terror War Detention Center in Guantanamo Bay are under active investigation for omitting, that means leaving out, valuable intelligence from their translations of detainee interrogations, among other security breaches. This could taint some of the evidence of the 9/11 trial in New York and proceedings against other detainees. Remarkably, the Pentagon never cleaned up this mole infestation at its highest security facility after the FBI busted a Muslim spy ring at Gitmo in 2003. The 2003 probe involved at least 2 Arabic interpreters with high-level security clearance. Senior Airman Ahmad Al-Halabi, a Syrian native, and former Army linguist Ahmed Mahaliba, an Egyptian native, were later convicted of stealing or mishandling classified documents. 6 years later comes a new problem with Muslim personnel who have virtually unfettered access to detainees and intelligence in Gitmo. Professional military security and intelligence officials at Gitmo did the preliminary probe, then prepared a classified summary and are now briefing top officials and members of Congress in Washington. An active FBI criminal probe is under the way. Listen to this. The possible new spy ring involves several Arab linguists. Arabs? Yeah. And Egyptians? Yeah. And Syrians? What's the connections? Muslims, Islam, that's the religion. It's not the nations. They're suspected of what? Among other things, omitting valuable intelligence from their translations or interrogations. Listen to this. Slipping notes to detainees inside copies of the Bible. No, inside copies of the Quran. That's what the Quran is used for by Muslims. Coaching detainees to make allegations of abuse against interrogators. And isn't that exactly what they're doing? You know, a Muslim who is captured by a Muslim government would not even dream of asking that Muslim government who captured them to try those Muslim captors for being mean to them. But here in America, these Muslims who are being paid by me and you, if you're a taxpayer, they coached these Muslim terrorists. Now listen, this is what you do. You tell everybody that these army guys mistreated you, and that way you'll get out early. Well, that's a paraphrase, but that's what they've been doing. Meeting with suspects on the terror watch list while back in the United States. Officials say some of the suspected dirty linguists who met privately in locked mosque at Gitmo have had access to 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and other high-value al-Qaeda detainees. 3 years of investigations have revealed the presence of pro-jihad, anti-Western activities among the civilian contractor and military linguist population serving the Joint Task Force at Guantanamo. States a copy of a classified Gitmo briefing prepared in May for the FBI, CIA, and Congress intelligence communities. Oh, America. Oh, Americans. Oh, Europe, Europeans, when are you ever going to learn? Stabbing you in the back, literally, physically. The answer is Islam. Islam is the common denominator. Muslims won't control. You're in the way, and time again, they're going to stab you in the back. Brother Hammoudi, we're almost to the break. Why don't you share your article now And those of you who've been patiently waiting online, as soon as we come back from the break, we're going to open the phone lines and just simply take your calls on the news that Muslims are making around the world today. Brother Hammoudi, share, would you, your article, and then we'll go to a break.
All right, this was an email sent to me from a friend, and this is an explanation of the Muslim terrorist situation given by Dr. Emmanuel Tenay, a well-known and respected psychiatrist. His references to past history are accurate and clear. A German's view on Islam. A man whose family was German aristocracy prior to World War II owned a number of large industries and estates. When asked how many German people were true Nazis, the answer he gave can guide our attitude towards fanaticism. Very few people were true Nazis, he said, but many enjoyed the return of the German pride, and many more were too busy to care. I was one of those who just thought the Nazis were a bunch of fools. So, the majority just sat back and let it all happen. Then before we knew it, they owned us, and we had lost control. At the end of the world had come. My family lost everything. I ended up in a concentration camp, and the Allies destroyed my factories. We are told again and again by experts and talking heads that Islam is the religion of peace and that the vast majority of Muslims just want to live in peace. Although this unqualified assertion may be true, it's entirely irrelevant. It is meaningless fluff, meant to make us feel better and meant to somehow diminish the spectra of fanatics rampaging across the globe in the name of Islam. The fact is that the fanatics rule Islam at this moment in history. It is the fanatics who march. It is the fanatics who wage any one of 50 shooting wars worldwide. It is the fanatics who systematically slaughter Christian or tribal groups throughout Africa and are gradually taking over the entire continent in an Islamic wave. It is the fanatics who bomb, behead, murder, or honor kill. It is the fanatics who take over mosque after mosque. It is the fanatics who zealously spread the stoning and hanging of rape victims. These peoples, countries, or tribes did not come into their countries and try to change or take them over. It is the fanatics who teach their young to kill and to become suicide bombers. The hard, quantifiable fact is that the peaceful majority, the silent majority, is cowed and extraneous. Communist Russia was comprised of Russians who just wanted to live in peace. Yet the Russian communists were responsible for the murder of about 20 million people. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. China's huge population was peaceful as well, but Chinese communists managed to kill a staggering 70 million people. The average Japanese individual prior to World War II was not a warmongering sadist, yet Japan murdered and slaughtered its way across Southeast Asia in an orgy of killing that included the systematic murder of 12 million Chinese civilians, most killed by the sword, the shovel, or bayonet. And who can forget Rwanda, which collapsed into butchery? Could it not be said that the majority of Rwandans were peace-loving? History lessons, which are not taught by our educators, are often incredibly simple and blunt. Yet for all our powers of reason, we often miss the most basic and uncomplicated of points. Peace-loving Muslims have been made irrelevant by their silence. Peace-loving Muslims will become our enemy if they don't speak up, because like my friend from Germany, they will awaken one day and find that the fanatics own them and the end of their world has begun. Peace-loving Germans, Japanese, Chinese, Russians, Rwandans, Serbs, Afghans, Iraqis, Palestinians, Somalis, Nigerians, Algerians, and many others have died because the peaceful majority did not speak up until it was too late. As for us who watch it all unfold, we must pay attention to the only group that counts, the fanatics who threaten our way of life for whatever reason they claim.
Brother Hammoudi, thank you so much. Very scary if we allow it to be, but take heart in the Lord. We're going to go to a break. I know there's been many people who are waiting quite some time on the phone line. You hang in there. After the break, we're going to go immediately to the calls, and we're going to try to take all of your calls that we possibly can. Right after this break, we'll be back with news and views.